We are on the next type of blog post of the series that we're going through. And this one is called the reviews, comparison, and versus charts or versus blog posts. And the reason why I wanted to put this subject together is because the reviews, the comparisons, and the verses, they are all pretty similar in how you're going to construct that type of blog post. So the purpose of a review type of blog post is that you're trying to help the reader choose what's the best product based on your recommendations. So you have done all the research, you have tried many of the products on there. Hopefully you tried them all, but I know sometimes if you have a longer list, it's hard to get every product, but you use that in combination with the reviews that are online about all the different products, and then you help the reader make an informed decision. A lot of people just want you to tell them what it is, and then you have some people who want you to tell them what it is, but they want you to be as detailed as possible. So you have to be able to create a product review that can help the person who wants all the details, and then someone who wants you to just give them the answer right away. Then you have, for the versus type of article, this is more of a smackdown. This is a showdown between two products, whereas when you're doing a review, you're gonna probably have about 5 or 10 different products on that review, and then you're gonna help someone choose the best based on your recommendations and your experience. But when you have a smackdown, you have two things going side by side, or also a comparison versus type of product or experience. Then someone's gonna want you to tell them exactly what they should expect from each one. And usually for the versus the comparison type of articles, throughout your blog post, you're going to constantly be comparing the two items through the different sections of your blog post. And this could include something such as the pricing of them, the experience, the customer review and satisfaction, the amenities. It just depends on what your actual content is. So if I am talking about Buffer versus Hootsuite, which you can see that here, I might talk about which one is easy to use, which one has the most features, what social media options are available for each particular product, what are the payment plans like, is it easy to get in contact with customer service, and then what are the overall reviews that you see online from other people and customer satisfaction. You may have a section like that. Another thing that you can note about the reviews, the comparisons, and versus articles, especially the reviews where you're doing product reviews and you're listing out a few of them, is that they can help you increase your monthly revenue. And this is done through affiliate marketing. So many of these posts will have affiliate marketing as the main source of income for that particular article. So you'll start your article, then you'll have an introduction, and then after that introduction, remember we said after our introduction, before we put any link to any product, we're going to always have our disclosure statement. That way we are in the right standings with FTC. This is an example of what I use on my website, but you can find some examples online. I can't really give you an exact word to say because I'm not an attorney and I don't want to be liable for anything. Now, some example titles that you may see as far as the reviews go, you may see something that says the 5 best cameras on YouTube for YouTubers. So right here, you're going to be going through different cameras. And I would say 5 because cameras are expensive, so I don't know who's going to be able to have that kind of money to keep buying cameras. But a YouTuber will want to know what cameras should they have and what are the reviews online from other YouTubers and their experiences. How easy are the cameras to use? What about storage? What about the battery life? That's something that you would explain in that type of article. Then this is a versus where I have Universal Studios Florida versus Disney World. So this will be the main keyword. And then I will have a colon, and then it'll be like, which is better? And so most people who are coming to Orlando, they want to know which is better, Universal Studios or Disney World. And then you're going to put which is better because that's a common question someone would have. And throughout that article, we would compare things like the rides, the attraction, the food, ticket prices, hotels to stay, transportation is easy to get around between the parks, and just special events that may happen at the park. So that's how that comparison article would be. And then we already went through the Hootsuite. Now, some tips for this or all of these type of articles is that you want to create a standard format. Let me give you an example, just a quick outline. So for a product review article, you know that this is going to be a listicle. So if we are talking about our title, which is going to be the 5 best cameras for YouTubers. Then we're going to start with our introduction. Of course, we're going to have 1 and then 2 and then ... But while we are here at the 1, every section is going to have the same type of format. And this is where you want to use the same type of format over and over for your product reviews. You're going to have an overview of the product. You're going to have your experience. And you can put pros and cons of the product. You can have a section of ease of use, pricing, features, and you can put this in whatever kind of order works for your website. You want to make sure you include pictures, and it will be helpful if you include pictures of you actually having the product in your hand or you using a product in action. Especially if you are doing something with camera, you can take them, and this is what we're going to talk about later, comparison chart, and you can take 5 of those cameras and take the same photo or the same video imagery, do a screenshot of it, and then you can insert that throughout your blog post. And then at the end of each product section, you might say if there are any alternatives that you may recommend. Say if this one is a more pricier one, you may say this is a good backup alternative for this particular type of camera. So that's just how I would do this. And then once you go over this and you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you may add a section of FAQs where you go over ways that somebody can pick out the best camera, like any kind of questions you may see on Google when it comes to picking out a camera. And then you have another section that's tips, and that's tips for buying cameras, things to look out for, where to buy the best cameras, and then you'll have your conclusion. So that's how you would do a type of review article. That would be the outline for that type of article. Now, continuing with the tips, like I said, you want to have a comparison chart. There are a lot of tech blogs that do this very well, where they will talk about, say, the best bookkeeping software, and they'll talk about the top 10 throughout the article, but at one portion of the article, they'll have them all listed out just like this, and then they'll tell you which one has this feature, which one doesn't. And you can see similar stuff like that on Amazon. Every time you go look at a product, Amazon AI will automatically display some similar products and all the features that they each have and which one is neglecting what. So that helps you kind of see stuff visually. And as you know, that does help with conversion rate. And if you're trying to create these articles that can convert, these review articles, you need to go the extra mile and add things like that. Once you have your flow, you have your design, your standard, your template for your review article, then you just keep using it just for different type of keywords that you're going to focus on. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have your standard format, so half the work is already done. Now, this is something that you want to make sure that you do, is that you continue to update those articles, because what's going to happen is that sometimes those cameras, they may become outdated, or maybe they're not good anymore and they're getting a lot of bad press or something. You want to go back through and update that content, especially say you're doing some books and one of the books you had on there was a 2023 guide, but now it's 2025. You're going to want to go back there and update that article. So that's just something to think about. And when it comes for the versus types of articles, you want to make sure that you include the 2 products name at the beginning of your article. So I know we had talked about buffer versus Hootsuite, so let's do something like that. Buffer versus Hoot. It's not gonna fit. Sweet. And then I do colors, and then I'll be like 2023 guide, or you could say which is the best or which is better, whatever you want to do. For the versus or comparison type of articles, you just start with your introduction, and then you're going to go through the overview of the products, the 2 products. And remember, we're going to always keep their names at the beginning of the article, and they're most likely going to be a keyword. This is most likely a keyword. Then you're going to go through the overview, and you're going to conclude your article. It's very straightforward, but the overview is the meat of this type of blog post. And that's where here you're going to have a section where you're talking about ease of use, and then you're going to break down each product. You might say pricing. You might have one that's like customer satisfaction, and other things. And then you know how we are. We like to make sure we have the best article. That way we answer everything. You can even include a Q&A section because there are probably some common questions that people have regarding Buffer and some regarding Hootsuite. And then you may have some tips for choosing the best products and ways to get the most out of each product. So that is an outline and an overview of what you would do for a versus or comparisons type of article. And overall, these articles are fun to write. They are great money makers, and they're some of my favorite articles to write. Now we're going to move on to the next lesson.